Welcome to the Dad Bod. This is a new series of videos that I've been planning on starting for a while now. There are so many amazing fragrances out there for cologne, but some of them are crazy expensive. So I started looking into clones of popular colognes as well as clones that are inspired by popular colognes. I'm curious to see if I really need to spend the big bucks or if I can save some money by getting a clone or an inspired by clone that smells so close to the real thing that the average person wouldn't be able to tell the difference or wouldn't care. I have here Amazon.com's Perfume Studio impression of Aventus by Creed, Musk and Hustle's Nitro Musk Stubbly. So if you don't know what Nitro Musk is, I've got a little video right here that you can learn about their Stubblies and some other stuff. Just for the record, this is their Stubbly size and this is their normal size. I have Dossier's Musky Oak Moss impression, the Al Armand L'Aventure version, the Alt Fragrance Alt Executive 26 version, and then because I love the Alpha M videos, I wanted to try out his Pete and Pedro impression, which is called Rebel. And some of these are clones of colognes, which are meant to try to get as close as they can without violating any copyright protections, and others are impressions of, which means that they kind of use the original cologne as a basis and then make a few little tweaks to try to make it better in their opinion. And then to make sure that I have the real original cologne to compare with these impressions or clones or replicas, whatever, I went and got a trial size bottle from Micro Perfume. So while I'm doing this, I want to take note on different features. I want to, note how close they are to the real thing with each of the different layers. The strength of the scent, what makes up their scent, is it the same or different, how long do they last versus the real thing, and lastly, the cost. I wanted to find out if I really needed to spend hundreds of dollars on top of the line colognes, or could I spend $30 to $50 and be just as happy? I know with what I spent here, I probably could have just gotten a bottle of the real thing, but then I wouldn't be able to help you all, and what happens when that bottle runs out? Then I'd have to get another $400 bottle. So when it comes to bottle and distribution, I really don't put a whole lot of weight here because honestly, I don't really care what the bottle looks like. I'm just saying it like I see it. If I have two bottles of basically the exact same thing, I'm not going to pay extra for a snazzy looking bottle that's just going to sit on a shelf. It's the scent that truly matters. The original Aventus comes with a sprayer. It's got a nice size spray from what I've seen in other videos about it. I can't really replicate that because I only have this little tester bottle and it's not made from, the bottle itself is not made from the original manufacturer, so not like it really matters for this, but here's the real thing. So the same goes for Rebel and Alt Fragrance. I only got the tester sizes. So for this video, really only thing I can do is show you how the tester looks. So with L'Aventure, you can see that it does have a nice decent spray. Musky Oak Moss from Dossier also has a pretty nice spray. And just something to note with this one, it's got this magnetic cap, which I just thought was really cool. I guess that's just a goofball in me. And then for Nitro Musk and Perfume Studio, they're both rollers. So it doesn't spray, it has a rolling ball at the top. Again, it's the scent that matters most of all, not the bottle. And speaking of scent, I'm in a small office and there's a lot of cologne being sprayed in here, so I'm going to take a quick break and let this room air out a bit. I mean, seriously, I could rip a Taco Bell fart in here right now and nobody would be able to tell. Okay, that's better. Now let's get back to the colognes. So let's talk about longevity. I found that the Creed Aventus, the original, lasts about 10 hours. Pete and Pedro's Rebel lasts about 8. Dossier's Musky Oak Moss lasts about 8 to 10 hours. Alt 26 lasts about 6 to 7 hours. So for all of them, the scent stayed around for the better part of the day, whereas Perfume Studio L'Aventure was mostly gone at about 3 hours, and then Nitro Musk was gone after about 2. I've used several Nitro Musk colognes before. I've got a whole bunch of them right behind me, and usually they tend to last a lot longer, so I was really surprised here. Each of these are made with slightly different ingredients. I know many of you watching really don't care what it's made of as long as it smells the same, but I've learned a lot by paying attention to what a cologne is made out of, which helps me find the ones that I like most, as well as to be able to identify different scents within the fragrance. Aventus by Creed and Alt 26, they start off with pineapple, bergamot, black currant, and apple as its top notes. Dossier's musky oak moss is close. They say apple, pineapple, and bergamot, so it's missing the black currant. Allermain's L'Aventure says bergamot, lemon, and elemi, which probably explains why the pineapple seems to be missing when you first spray it. And then Pete and Pedro has bergamot, pineapple, and nutmeg. Perfume Studio and Nitro Musk don't really list their ingredients. The initial dry down is about the same for all of them, around 20 to 40 minutes. Creed was a little bit closer to an hour. And then the mid and the base notes start coming into play. Aventus has birch, patchouli, Moroccan jasmine, and rose for its mid notes. Alt 26 has birch, patchouli, jasmine, and pink berries. Dossier has rose, birch leaf, and patchouli. Allerman has woody notes and jasmine and lily of the valley. And then Pete and Pedro has cassis, thyme, and sage. Again, Perfume Studio and Nitro Musk don't list their ingredients. I will say that Perfume Studio is kind of close, but not there. Nitro Musk, even a little bit less, is close. It's a similar scent, but it's a bit dull and weaker. For the base notes, both Aventus and Alt 26 has musk, oak moss, ambergris, and vanilla. Dossier has musk, oak moss, and amber. Allermain has musk, patchouli, and amber. And then Pete and Pedro uses moss, woods, amber, and patchouli. So they're all pretty fairly similar. Alt 26 is almost identical. The only difference is pink berries instead of rose for the mid notes, and then the rest is the same. At this point, I am ready to rule out Perfume Studio and Nitro Musk. They both really need some improvements before they can properly be compared to Creed's Aventus. The scents are similar, but it's just not there. And then they both faded away after about 3 hours. You couldn't even tell that they were there. Dossier is very close to the original. Same with Alt 26. I'm sure hardcore fragrance enthusiasts would be able to tell the difference, but for me and those that I've had try, it's really close. I mean, I've actually had to keep a note on my phone to remember, which cologne was on which wrist. Allermain's L'Aventure, I had higher hopes for this one. I seen it on a few websites and blogs where they say this is one of the best imitations of Aventus Creed. It starts off similar, minus the pineapple, and then it's a bit stronger on the patchouli. It ends up fairly close when the mid and base notes get into the mix, but it's really short-lived. The scent was pretty much faded after a few hours. So again, Alt 26, it started off very close. It wasn't as strong on the pineapple starting off, but after about a half an hour, I couldn't really tell the difference. And then Rebel is also very similar to Aventus. I did notice that it doesn't have as much of a smokiness as some of the batches of Creed has. I've heard and read that not every batch of Creed is the same. Some a little bit fruitier, some are a little bit smokier. Me personally, I prefer the fruitier batches, so I really like how Rebel reduces the smokiness, but keeps the rest fairly true to the original. And I am kind of regretting just getting this trial size now, because as you can see, it's almost gone. I've only got a few days left out of this. And now for the costs. They don't all come in the same size bottles, and some are listed in milliliters while others are listed in ounces. So I calculated the cost per ounce for each one based on the prices that I saw today. Aventus by Creed is about $345 for a 1.7 ounce bottle, which makes it about $200 per ounce. Perfume Studio is $12 for this 10 ounce bottle here, which is $36 per ounce. Nitro Musk, like I said, normally you wouldn't be getting the little stubblies unless you're just trying it out. You would end up going for this one right here, which is a 10 milliliter bottle, and that would come to about $60 per ounce. And again, those are a little bit harder to fully compare just because it's a different makeup. It's using a roller, it's not using a spray, you use a lot less. So just kind of keep that in mind. L'Aventure by Allermain is $38 for the 3.3 ounce bottle, which is $12 per ounce. And then both Dossier and Pete and Pedro's Rebel come to $49 for the 1.7 ounce bottle, which is $29 per ounce. Alt 26 was $39 for the 30 milliliter or 1 ounce bottle, so it's $39 per ounce. So obviously these prices and everything are subject to change since prices change regularly, and the prices differ based on the size of the bottle that you get. The bigger the bottle, the less it costs per ounce. These are just the average costs based on what I saw today. And like I said earlier, I am going to take a pass on the Perfume Studio and the Nitro Musk just because they aren't close enough in my opinion to even sit at the same table as Aventus by Creed. I'm also going to pass on Allemagne L'Aventure because I really feel like it's lacking without the pineapple. The patchouli is quite strong at first, and then the cologne only lasts about half as long as the original. So that leaves us with Dossier's Musky Oak Moss, Alt Fragrances Alt 26, and Rebel by Pete and Pedro. I would say that Dossier's impression is very close. I really struggled to tell the difference. And then Alt 26 is basically there. After about a half an hour, I couldn't even tell the difference. Pete and Pedro's Rebel is very close. The only difference that I can tell is it's a little bit less smoky to the Aventus that I have right here, which I said earlier, you know, the smokiness versus fruitiness for Aventus varies by batch. And I actually like the fruitiness a little bit better. I know I just lost major credibility with Creed enthusiasts, but remember, I'm not telling you which ones to buy or even that you even need to buy anything. I'm just giving you my thoughts on them and, you know, finding out if we all can actually save money and smell just as good. The Alt 26 is almost identical to the smokier batches of Aventus, and then once the initial dry down finishes, it's pretty much spot on. It just doesn't last as long. It's about 6 to 7 hours, whereas Aventus lasts more like 10 hours. And then Dossier's Musky Oak Moss is just a bit behind. I mean, not by much. It's closer to the less smoky batches of Aventus. I mean, you probably won't even be able to tell the difference unless you have them side by side. And even then, you might not really be able to tell which one is actually Creed. So this one lasts a little bit longer, closer to the 8 to 10 hour range. So, depending on which batch of Creed you like, here are two very good options that are affordable and available. However, we still have one more fragrance on the table, which is the Pete and Pedro Rebel, which is they're inspired by. So this one wasn't designed to be a clone of Aventus, it was inspired by Aventus and they improved on it. So, and when I say improved, I mean it's improved to some, you know, what some people like, some others may dislike and vice versa. So for this one, they wanted to keep the Aventus scent, but reduce the smokiness and let that pineapple really shine, and that it does. As soon as I sprayed this on the first time, I knew that I was going to be getting a full-size bottle eventually. Right now I'm waiting for them to release their Villain, which is what I plan on using to help me out with my next video, which is basically the same thing like this, except for Tom Ford's Tobacco Vanilla. Funny story, I was actually at a fragrance shop about a week and a half ago, and there was a lady, a customer, she asked me what I was wearing so that way she can get a bottle for her husband. The clerk lady was like, sorry, we don't carry that. And then she tried to sell the customer lady a bottle of Aventus. She had sticker shock, of course, and didn't get it. So once we left, I told the customer lady that, you know, the website to get Rebel. The next clone versus clone video that I want to do is, like I said, Tom Ford's Tobacco Vanilla. I haven't picked one for after that, so if there's one that you guys want, go ahead and leave me a note in the comments and I'll consider it. Now it's time for this video shout out. So I didn't have any new comments at the time that I made this video that could be used for a shout out. So I'll pick a slightly less recent one, but it's one that I absolutely wanted to use. This was about 3 weeks ago. I love this comment, which again is why I said I picked this one. Sprint says, I just wanted to tell you that I really appreciate your videos. I'm healing from a surgery I had, so I have to stay home. Your videos helped me a lot to pass my time and learn new stuff. I really enjoyed your videos. Keep it up and thank you for your videos. Thank you for watching, Sprint, and I'm glad I'm able to help, and let's all wish Sprint a speedy recovery. I put in the description for this video links to get discounts off of these three if you ever wanted to get them for yourself. Like I said, my plan is to do more videos like this for more of the popular colognes like Tom Ford's Tobacco Vanilla, Black Tie, Zegna, and more. So for now, check out this video right here comparing several of the monthly watch subscription boxes side by side so you can see how they compare against each other, and I'll see you there.